Textual Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Hey.
How about now?
Oh, there you go. Hey, my man.
I am so sorry. It was my dongle. It unpaired me somehow.
Dongle.
So that was
You
my headset.
you had the mute on the cord, right?
No, I turned it off and turned it back on. Somehow it unpaired or something.
Oh yeah.
Every once in a while when I reconnect, it does that. Oh well. We're here now.
Yeah.
My dude.
Hey, so what is the you sent me an order number, and what's that order number all about?
Yeah, so that was a quote I did. A client was in chat yesterday. He was asking for some swing clear hinges. So I asked him some questions, and I asked him for some photos. And it didn't really look like the application where he needed swing clear. You know, after talking to him for a little bit, it looked like more than likely wide throw. He also mentioned Parliament hinges, which I've never reviewed. But then there are some photos on here where the entryway is kind of interesting in that the clearance is a few inches away from the edge of the frame, and then it projects out into the room like 6 inches. So I think it's the CSP5 on that order. It shows how it the wall is extended in two different ways. So I wasn't sure if it's typical, if it's extra typical because of that, because I wasn't sure which inset measurement I needed. So I see there's a photo I uploaded. Is this the inset we need? And I kind of did the diagram because I wasn't sure. I wanted to be sure, and I know there's that calculation in the Stanley catalog that we can do, but I got to make sure I understand what I'm asking for. So, yeah.
Right. Oh, So what does the guy want to do? Get those doors to 180?
Yeah. He wants them to open all the way up against the wall.
Look at him. Gonna be not a big deal, simple. Gonna be easy. Okay, so let's ouchie. So okay. Okay. Let me do. What about this? You do the. It's 3/8 doors, and so well good. Okay, let's. Okay. 275. Look at you, this guy.
270.
Good job. Okay, so it's not the end of the world. Now the thing is, what's the thing? Okay. I don't want to hear that while I'm doing this.
Understood.
Okay. All right. So the client has this. It's an 1 3/8 door. It's got a 3.5 inch 5/8 radius corner on it, hinge. Okay, fine. They clearly. Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's the rabbet of the frame. This is the pocket where the doors are over here, because that's about 1 9/16.
Obviously, dragging those with me. Bob. Me.
Okay. Right. Yeah. All right. So. Not sure exactly what dimension that is, but it's probably every bit of 5.5. So the formula for wide throw is door thickness minus hinge back stuff, which plus inset plus clearance. So we know that we have 1 3/8. How do we know that? Well, because it's a 3.5 inch hinge. How do we know it's 3.5? Because it has 3 holes. If it was a 4 inch hinge, it could be a thicker door, but that's a 3.5. So that's 1 3/8 minus, we'll say, 1/4 inch. 1 1/8 plus inset.
Don't we do a multiplication there?
No multiplication.
I thought it was times 2. I guess I was wrong.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Hold the phone.
I thought it was door thickness minus back set times 2 plus. But you're there.
You're right. Absolutely. No, you're right. I'm
awesome.
I just don't hinge with door thickness minus backset times 2, right? Plus inset plus clearance. Okay. So 1 1/8 times 2 is 2 1/4. 2 1/4 plus inset. And inset is going to be, like, we can't obviously see inset, but we're going to call it 0. It's really the dimension. None of this really matters because our inset is really from the face of the wall to the face of the door. So that, let's just say 5.5. So 2 1/4 plus 5.5 is 7 3/4. Okay. Plus clearance. 7 3/4 plus clearance. And clearance is going to be what they need down here for the casing.
Oh.
Pardon me, for the base there. You got a night light here or whatever that is. So, and that stuff's going to be for sure 1/2 inch thick. So, you're at a nominal 8 1/4. So in this instance, you would have an 8 inch wide hinge. The problem is there is no standard 8 inch wide. You end up going to a 5 inch tall hinge.
Yeah, I'm going to take one.
All right, buddy. A 5 inch tall hinge to get 8 inch wide. You may be able to get 4.5 by 8, but the problem with doing that is BB 5010 508, BB 5010 -508, BB 5010.
We don't sit down, apparently.
And that behind me. Little -508. Not be any of those discontinuities. Okay, so
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it.
The issue is you've got an 1 3/8 thick door, and you try to put a 5 inch hinge on there. If you mortised that all the way to the back side of the door, your door is going to come right here. So it's a lot of hinge to stick on the edge of the door. And what that means is you would mortise it all the way here. So it would not be right to do that. Now, when the client says, because, the widest you're going to get in a 3 inch is 7 inch. 3.5. The widest you're going to get in a 3.5 inch hinge would be a 7. A 3 should be 357. So let's 5010-357. Will they do a 357 or is it just 356? Yeah, you won't get a 7 inch wide in a 3.5. You can get to a 4 inch tall on a 7 inch wide, and that's going to allow your doors to get really, you're going to get open pretty well. But without putting it all into AutoCAD, I wouldn't know how close to parallel to the face of the wall the customer is going to get.
Okay. Definitely much better than how it is now, banging into the corner, but maybe
no
not
doubt.
all the way flush.
Oh yeah, no, and like I said, you could take a 4x7, and you're going to get that door reasonably open. The issue is, not too much of an issue, but there'll be a lot of mortising involved, and the customer mentioned a Parliament hinge, and a Parliament hinge is going to look like the capital letter H. They literally kind of look like this. Hole, 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 knuckle, knuckle. And I had a customer who wanted a whole mess of these really custom, and I'm playing with the idea of making them on the CNC, because I believe it would not be difficult to make, but you'll get a Parliament hinge that's wide, where the issue with a Parliament hinge is getting one wide enough, because the formula does tell us that they need a hinge that's, basically a hinge, is exactly what it is. Well, a little bit more Parliament hinge. And I know that
I know there's a Parliament section right underneath the hinges. I found it yesterday.
Yeah, no, they're there. Yeah, right. So the issue is, will there be one wide enough? And there isn't going to be one wide enough in the site. I think the widest I've really seen is 7-inch that exists.
Okay.
Oh no, here's a 4.5x8. Oh, this would be the cat's meow.
Oh.
This would probably work really perfectly, because it's only 1 1/16 wide. You'll get all of that leaf onto the edge of the door. Yeah, this is it right here.
Wow.
So
he was right. Awesome.
Yeah. So this should work out really well. The
Parliament.
It's called the Parliament.
I know.
Yeah. So that should work out, because we're just going back to the formula: door thickness minus backset times 2 plus, in this case, it's inset, and the inset's from the face of the wall, really, plus the thickness of the baseboard. So I would say, yeah, this would work really well, and I could certainly do a drawing in AutoCAD just to see what that would look like, and that would not be very difficult to do at all.
Here's a question, something that jumped out at me right there. It said the gauge was .256. Is that going to be an issue?
That's a very thick hinge.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a 1/4 inch. They're saying 0.25, yeah, 0.256. Yeah, the bottom line is the leaf thickness on what the client has now is only like 0.096. Right. So it's going to be 2.5 times the thickness, a little bit more than that, wherever that picture, yeah. That hinge is going to be like 0.096, so it'll be 2.5 times the thickness. So they're going to have to mortise it not only taller, but deeper, taller and deeper on both the jamb and the edge of the door. But the good news is, running the formula, it's going to work, is the bottom line. How we'll know that for sure is just literally me tossing it into whatever I'm working on here. Something. So yeah, if it became necessary, I would certainly want to put it into AutoCAD only because I can, and that would really tell us I'm hung up somewhere on this. But that would be a nice thing to do. Yeah, I didn't know that we had them out to 8-inch. So there you go.
Is there any other things that you should stipulate to the client, things he needs to be aware of, other items I suggest? Yeah, just based on this application.
Well, without changing the doors altogether, you might be able to, without a real radical change to what the customer is doing. With some people, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people imagine taking these leaves and cutting them in half of the width and then they hinge them together so they can fold and then stack them. You still have the same type of problem. I mean, if getting out to 180 degrees is mandatory, or really close to 180, it won't, you probably won't go to 180 because of the projection of the trim here.
Right.
The hinge will be very close to getting it out there, but, this may prevent it. And then, a thing like this, you got to sell them some sort of a wall stop. Don't want the trim damaging the finish on the walls. This looks like it's a house in Florida with the taller doors and the finish on the walls. So
what the client actually said was he wanted to open up against the door. So I was thinking like a magnetic door holder or something like that. Would that be prudent?
What does he want to do?
He doesn't want the door to bang up against the wall, but he wants it to be able to. He mentioned wanting it to stay open all the way, like against the door.
Yeah, you don't want it to bang against the wall, which means you have to have a small piece of auxiliary hardware for that. And what I like to use for that is this is not the item, but I will find it. I don't remember the part number. Ives and other people make a really small wall stop that's about 1 inch diameter. And it's nice because it's nondescript. You don't really see it, but he would want to have that there behind the knobs. Here it is. WS404. This is really small. Really small.
Forward. Right.
Yeah, 1 inch diameter. This would be really nice. Get a matching oil rub finish. 613. That would do it up really well.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, I think I know what to do with this client. I think I can sell him something. Fantastic.
Yeah, I do too. I would explain to the client, we've run the formula. You're right in the ballpark. Is it going to be truly parallel? Probably not. Is it going to be substantially all the way open? Absolutely. Because what you're dealing with is stock hardware versus a custom solution, which will be an order of magnitude more expensive. So yeah, I agree. And I'm so confident that the client will have very agreeable success that I would not insist that I do an AutoCAD situation for the client. So I really wouldn't worry about that. I'm hung up.
Okay. And the one we were looking at, was that the Deltona? That was a 4x8, 4.5x8, right?
Yeah, that is the DSPA 4580. Yeah. I got a project someday. I'm going to make custom Parliament hinges on the CNC, and I already know how I'm going to do it.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get to see that on a Sunday.
Oh, you betcha. Yeah, that's for sure going to happen.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to dive
What else you got?
and make this go. Let's see. Well, what else I got? I do have something else. Let's see here. I have a Rockwood issue that I could definitely use some help on. Let me pull this hold order up. Client specified, he placed an order for some Rockwood poles, and then he wasn't sure if he got the right. I don't think that's specified. So we placed an order. We ended up ordering. I'm kind of stalling as I'm trying to find the order. We placed an order for a pair, back to back, because he said he wanted Type 5. And then when they arrived, he mentioned that, well, he already had one side of the pole, and he just wanted it to mate the other one. So let me give you this order number here. It's 229594. I think I have photos there. I certainly do. So, actually, I might not have all my photos of his application. Type 5. I don't think I do, actually. I'd need to upload his other ones, unfortunately. Did I give you that order number by chance?
Oh, that's that ain't type 5.
Yeah.
That's a spare. I can tell right away. What you notice about that is look at the angle of the thread here.
Mm-hmm.
Notice it here. Those threads on the left side they're this way. On the left side they're that way. On the right side they're that way.
Okay.
So what I know is that's what's called a spanner. It's a through bolt, but it's a spanner style. It is not going to mate up to an existing Type 5. This is way superior to a Type 5, far superior. I don't remember what type this is in terms of what it's called.
I think it's a 12 based on the Rockwood
yeah, could be.
invoice.
Yes. So SP 1025. And let's go to the Rockwood page. Let's go to mounting kit parts master table. Let's look at type 12. The 12. No, I'm sorry. Definitely not type 12. I'm flaking out. I should have known that right off the top of my head. Yeah, that's just a spanner, probably a type 11, and they may only do it in the 3/8 size. But this is literally what it is in the sense of, well, I don't think he has a type 11. He may have a spanner for, glass, type 14. So what happens here is, okay, so this is not a washer. It's a collar. It's a spanner collar. So what happens is the dimension from the pole to the backside is X.
Wait.
The dimension from the other side is X minus the thickness of the spanner collar. And that will go on the shorter of the two so it balances out. And you use a spanner wrench. And if you watch Star Wars, they're constantly talking about pass me the spanner. Like, you can use a spanner for every single thing you do. The spanner wrench is this. And you put the little
equipment in the fire industry.
Oh yeah, of course you know what it is. Yes, of course, of course. Okay, so as you put the spanner, there's going to be a little hole in the spanner collar, and you rotate it just like you would, and because these are left-right threads, it draws that together when you tighten it. Super strong. By far the best. By far. That's a 3/8 diameter bolt, but everything he's got now won't mate up to it for sure.
Right. Okay. And I specified it as type 5 on the order. So this is good because now you're telling me it sounds like Rockwood misship because it's not type 5 or type 12, but the invoice says it looks like it's type 11. Yeah.
So clearly there's no drawing here apparently where anyone approved it. So that's definitely going to be on Rockwood. Rockwood almost always sends drawings for us to approve. I don't know why they didn't in that case.
Yeah, me either, actually.
Yeah, they should have. But, I would tell the client, listen, whatever you want, but, this is way more durable because the bolt's 3/8 rather than 1/4 inch. Type 5 means 1/4 inch. Type 5 HD is 5/16. Type 5 XHD would be 3/8. So you got a much thicker bolt. It's a really nice, super solid. I would stick with it if you can.
I think the issue is he needed one side of back-to-back holes, two different doors, and we ordered a set.
And he ordered a pair, right. So that's pretty clear. And he's going to get two of them.
Yeah, I'm just trying. I want to make it work. You know, what do I need to start a new fastener? You know, do we need to start from scratch? You know, how can I make? I mean, it doesn't sound like he's gonna have the right pulls because he's got a set and he's got two different open-ended doors that are missing different handing pulls.
So how many doors does he have that he needs pulls for?
Let's see how he phrased it. I need two handles to replace the two on the inside, so it's two doors and two inside handles on two different doors.
Yeah. Okay. So if he already has, the thing is, you got to make sure of what it is that he already has.
Right.
A Type 5 is, so that Rockwood master parts list, I keep it here because I like to be able to know what's going on. When you do a Type 5, Type 5 is going to have an SP1025 right here. So the outside pole is just going to be tapped for the bolt. The inside is going to be prepped for this cone head. So let's pull up a Type 5 so we can look at it. Decorative back air, perfect. So when you do this kind of work, when you ordered a Type 5 HD. Okay, fine, 5/16, a little thicker bolt. So you've got to make sure of what they're starting with. If they have a Type 5, or what would really be a Type 1, just a through bolt if it was a single pole, and the guy wants to buy the inside only, you have to be able to order two poles prepped for the correct mount type, and then you've got to be sure to sell him the bolts that he needs, which means what you could do is you're really buying a single pole, not a pair. So what you could definitely do in this case, what Rockwood would tell you to do, is you would just simply order a Type 6, because it will have the prep on the inside of the pole. It'll have the prep for the cone head bolt. It will have the counter bore for the set screw that's there. Okay? And that'll give you the pole. But what you don't have is the right bolt. So you'll get the set screw. You're going to get this SP1039 or whatever this is. And then what you got to do is you got to sell him two. Actually, no. You got to order it with Type 6 HD. If he has Type 5 HD, you have to know what he's starting with. Meaning, if he's got outside poles, you got to know what, you should see pictures and you should know what thread type it's prepped for. So let's say it's 5/16. You would order two poles Type 6 HD. You'll have the set screw. You'll have this cone head machine screw, which you won't need. And then you got to pick up separately you got to sell the client separately the Type SP10, the SP1056 bolt only, and you specify the door thickness.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's gnarly doing half pairs because that's literally what you're doing. It sounds like.
Right.
I mean, that's what you said you're doing. Whether or not that's actually what's happening has to be determined. But that's how I would go about. That's how I would go about doing it. Rockwood would probably have a more elegant way to do it, but I don't know all of their internal ways to do stuff.
Right. I did upload about 4 photos while we were from the client while we were discussing that, so we can see what they've got. Bottom 4, fresh Hornea with gobbledygook names. It was 229594.
Which image? Any of them?
Yeah, the bottom 4 or
Bottom
from the
4.
client showing. Yeah.
Going to have Randall build a way to open all files at once.
That would be good.
Okay, yeah. So that's going to be the inside of a Type 5 or that Type 6, whatever. You've got a hole here for the cone head bolt. So what's he showing you there? What he needs?
He's showing me the other end that the poles have to.
So this is a. Okay. All right.
Yep. 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 Yeah, right. You got what big.
All right. I know what that is. Hang on.
Those are the original.
Yeah, there's that spanner. Okay. So what's not clear to me is, okay, yeah, that is pretty clear. Okay. So, All right. So he's keeping the outsides. He wants new poles for the inside. Got it. So in this case, assuming he's replacing this, and you just need 2 of them for the inside. What you've got to find out from the client is what thread size that is, either 1/4-20 or 5/16. 5/16 18. Once you know that, you would then order the pull handle that you need, and what's on that order is not the right part number. This is a RM301. Is an RM301 is it an offset pull? RM301, and plus, let's look. Yeah, that pole's wrong, unless he wants this shape of pole. So, because he clearly has offset poles here.
Oh, right.
So that's going to be like a BF159 or something. And this is clearly aluminum, 628 finish. So what you want is you need to determine if that's 1/4-20 or it's 5/16 18. Then what you need is a BF159. You have to know the center to center. You have to know the finish with 12-inch. Okay, so BF159-12-628. And then you need to specify the proper mounting type. It'll either be 6 or 6HD. Well, it could be really any of these. Type 8. Because they're all going to be prepped. You want to prep for a single cone head. So, you basically need the prep for the inside half of this only. So BF159, you got to know what diameter of bolt size it is. It's either going to be a 6 or an 8. And mounting type. Mounting options. Yeah, for some reason, they might want double cone head on there. So you'd have to have Liz. I mean, ideally, we want to get those pull handles added with the Type 6 and the Type 8 mount types. But that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a BF159 center to center. Then you finish prepped for the right size of bolt. And it doesn't look like he needs anything other than a couple of pull handles. And I would just order him Type 6 because that'll give him a stubby little shoulder bolt that he won't use. Dad? Hey, Dad? Hold on that. Let me finish because I'm recording this. So that's what would happen. Ask me
Luckily,
what...
he called out that pole. Luckily, he called out the RM301, and we're just picking up the pieces because it sounds like you said, he called out the wrong type of pole completely. to meet up.
Or he wants a different style. Not impossible.
Right. That's true.
Not impossible.
Okay,
But I
will ask that.
Yeah.
You got to find out what diameter bolt to make sure that the prep here is correct. The diameter of the prep. I don't know what size that is.
Okay.
So it's either going to be that bolt's good. He'll have to take the bolt out, and he'll have to have a quarter 20 nut in his pocket, and he'll have to have a 5/16 18 nut. Just common machine nuts that you'll get in the bottom of your toolbox.
Right.
And then he'll know what size it is, and then you can order it either Type 6 or Type 6 HD, the pull handle only, and that's it. You're off to the races.
Awesome.
Yeah, Rockwood's not going to want that back, so have email our shipping department to send a label, assuming they're going to want to abandon it in the field. But the client, under no circumstances, can use what's there. He just can't. Unless he buys another pair and changes everything.
Right. Okay. That's an option I'll suggest as well. I mean, may as well, like you said, the hardware on what he received is actually beefier than what it looks like he was requesting. So
far, and if what he has is not through bolted, and he might, because we don't know if it's through bolted or not. It could just be surface concealed, which it generally is with aluminum. Through bolting, it is far more robust because aluminum is thick. It's 1/8 of an inch thick to drill and tap to, but it's not. It's soft. It's really soft.
okay.
It's so soft that when you cut it, it kind of liquefies.
Interesting. Guess I've never cut aluminum. Rather than with a hacksaw.
You come to Florida, and I'll put you behind the machine cutting aluminum for 8 hours straight.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Okay.
All right. I think that's good. We got some good stuff.
Hey, so Rockwood pull handles are not easy. If you feel uncomfortable, that's normal. Just keep asking questions, and it will sink in.
Okay. It's funny because I get more and more comfortable enough to make a mistake and learn something. So yeah, it's part of the process. So learn more, you can more stuff. So awesome. Very good. Thank you, Rich.
Bye.
Talk next time. Bye.
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. So, let's go over that hinge that Cory was working on, and we'll just, we will move our prior work over. Okay. Let us draw okay, great. So our snap lines, we've got a 1/4 inch on our major lines, and we've got 1/16 on our minor lines. So let's go in what appear to be 5.5 inches. Let's just draw a line here. Let's do 5.5, 90. Okay, this is going to be 10 at 180. Okay, great. Okay, awesome. So this is going to be the inset of where our wall was. Now let's draw something that's going to end up being our door, but let's hold it off a 1/4 inch. We'll hold it flush. Yeah, then let's make this, let's just say that it's 30 inch at 0, 30 at 0 degree. Enter. Then let's come up 1.5 375 at 90. Let's go 30 at 180. Let's go 1.375 at 90. Okay, now we've got a door. And we're going to have a 4-inch wide hinge. So what we'll do, let's just draw a line that is give ourselves a couple of cheater lines here. Let's just come down a 1/4 inch. Okay, and then let's draw another line flush with that that's going to be 4-inch. Okay. Okay. Oh, no. Yes, that's all we need. So this line would represent the width of our parliament hinge. So if what we do is, all I'm doing with these lines is just giving myself a little point of reference. So we'll just put a little circle here that will act like our axis of pivoting. So let's give ourselves a little more. Let's do this. Let's make that the wall. Let's say that our baseboard is, I'm going to go with 3/4 thick. We'll call that our base. Okay, now let's make sure that our door is a group. I believe that it is. Okay. So what I'm doing here is just I'm using lines just to help myself with an idea. So the door is grouped. Okay, so let's rotate this door. And then rotate. We're going to select the axis of pivoting right there. Oh, what? It's close, but it ain't going to get us far enough. If the baseboard wasn't there and if the knobs weren't there, you would be okay. But right here, right now, you're only going to get out this far. It's really not good enough. It's really not good enough. Measure, angle, select this, 24 degrees. So you're going to be you're going to be off that door by 24 degrees. Now, if we had a 9-inch hinge, let's draw another circle. At 2 1/8. Let's now take our door and rotate it around. Yeah, you had 9-inch, and you're gonna you still won't be completely flush because of the projection of your trim, which is probably 2.5 inch, and this is 3/4. This is going to be another 1/2 inch or so. So even with a 9-inch hinge, it's not going to be any good. And it would probably take a 10-inch hinge, would be my guess. Rotate that around that point. Oh, no, that's no good. We already had it moved. We had it in position. So let's undo all that. Put the door back where it was. Let's draw our line. Now let's take our object and rotate it around. Yeah, you get out to a 10-inch hinge and you'll have enough room because we can now measure this. That's 2 1/4. That's going to be really, really close to the face of the wall. So 8-inch hinge is going to get you to 24 degree. 10-inch hinge would probably get you quite parallel. So the only way to get a 10-inch hinge is to do a 5-inch tall, and that's going to be a really big hinge. And then at that point, you're probably going to have to reduce the margin between the two doors just to get them to swing. So not really elegant, but you know, maybe custom Parliament hinges would certainly do it. That can be done. As I said in the conversation, I have an opportunity to probably prototype those, and we'll see what happens. That's all we have for now. Thank you. AB Supply, this is Richard.
Richard, hi, this is Trupti here. I was chatting with you right now.
Okay.
And I was asking you about the hinges for my office door.
Yeah.
So I'm a little confused with what was suggested versus what I thought. As in, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm asking you the wrong question.
I mean, you've not asked the question. That's where we are.
Okay, so I guess, I was under the impression that, you have access to the...
This is all new to me.
Okay, so I have this door, if you saw the picture, that does not fully swing out because of that wall around it.
Okay.
Did you get a chance to see that?
Well, yeah, like I said, I don't want to till the same soil, but the images that you posted, I saw those.
Okay.
So in the interest of moving forward, what are we doing?
So I'm trying to have the door sit flat on the wall.
Okay.
And I'm trying to figure out the hinge that's going to fit my requirement.
Okay. So what have you come up with?
So I didn't come up with something. I don't know who OE. I think is that Cory? I think I was chatting with.
Yeah. If you like I had also said, if you would like to speak to Cory, he comes in at 11:30 Eastern. If you'd like to speak to me.
Oh, okay.
This is all
no,
new.
that's fine.
Start from the very beginning.
No, that's okay.
Tell me the
it doesn't
entire
matter.
story and leave out no details.
Okay. So, so 11:30 Eastern. So I'm guessing like 10:30 Central, right? I'm in Texas.
Yeah, there's
okay.
a 1 hour difference between Eastern and Central. That's right.
Right. So he suggested the hinge that I sent you.
Yeah. What I want you to do, if you would, in the live chat, post your images there again, because oh, wait a minute. No, hold on. I'm in the wrong chat. Oh, yeah, there they are. Okay. I see it. Yeah. Okay. So you want to open that door to 180 degrees? Is that what you said? Yeah, that's what you said. Okay.
Yes.
So what do you need? Tell me what you're thinking.
So because I need to swing this out, I understand the depth in the door frame is a little is like about an inch, I think, versus the wall, which is at about 5 inches.
Okay. Yeah. So your wall offset, or the inside of the wall, is 5 inches, and then you
About
mentioned 1 inch. What is 1 inch?
The 1 inch is the door frame. I can send you pictures of what I'm trying to refer to, and then
we're in live chat right now, so you can post them right there.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, that's not irrelevant to mention. So you have
There's another image that's supposed to come through.
oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I see that. Right on. Yeah, so about 5.5 inch. Okay. And you want your doors to go to 180 degree.
Correct.
Okay. So you have to run the formula for wide throw. You have to determine what hinge width you need. So,
Right.
is there anything that you would like to tell me about your conclusions at this time? Meaning,
So
do you have anything to add before I take ownership of the conversation?
So I looked at the hinge on your website,
Yeah.
and if I understand it correctly, it says it's a 5x10 US 26 depth full mortise ball bearing wide throw hinge.
Okay.
So what is 5 and what is 10? 10 is the height of the hinge?
False. On hinges, the height is the first dimension.
Right. So in that case, if it's 5 inch, how does it even cover the length we are looking?
Please repeat that.
If it's the 5-inch hinge,
Yeah.
then how does it cover the length I'm looking at? Because if I'm looking at the length, isn't it 5 plus? It's more than 5, right?
Are you talking about the first dimension of the hinge, the 5-inch part of the size?
Okay, I sent you the model. You probably will be more familiar with,
Yeah, you sent it in the chat. It's a 5x10, as you've already said.
Right. So I'm trying to understand the dimensions.
Like I said, the height is the first dimension. So when you
Okay,
lay
so what is that?
it in front of you, the height is the first dimension. So it's 5 inch tall, and then it's 10 inch wide.
Isn't 10 too wide?
I don't know. Is it? Have you run the formula for wide throw yet?
No,
So what we have to do is to determine the correct size.
Right.
So we have to determine that. What size do you think you should have?
I think it should probably. One second. I'm thinking maybe about 8.5, 9. I don't know. Yeah. Even 9 goes out of the wall in its widest width.
So what hinge width have you concluded that you need?
No, I have not concluded anything. I'm just talking from a span perspective.
Okay.
You probably can tell me that.
Yeah, most definitely. But you've concluded that 10 inches incorrect, and I'm asking how have you determined that?
Because if your hinge is wider than the width of the span, doesn't the door stick out far out and then come in at an acute angle?
Well, the answer is yes, but it's very important to think about the other the other elements of this mental exercise that we're going through, because other elements are important. You've pointed out 5.5 inch, but you've not pointed out all the elements. So, in order for the door to go parallel to the wall, you also have to consider the projection of your baseboard. So you really don't have 5.5. you really have 5.5 plus the projection of the baseboard, because you can't take that off. Plus, you also need to think about the projection of your trim that's on the doors. Don't you have some knobs on your doors?
I do.
Yeah, you do. So you have to think about that as well. So that's really important, because those elements are part of the formula to determine the proper width of the hinge. And
I see.
yeah, so is 10 inch correct? I don't know. It could be. It could be too large. It could be too small. You had also asked why not use a Parliament hinge, and I would respond saying, have you found a Parliament hinge that's the proper width? And I would think you haven't, because my gut tells me that 8 inch is not wide enough. Just thinking about the inset, your 5.5 inch dimension, thinking about the thickness of the base board, which is for sure 3/4 inch, if not 1 inch. And then the projection of your trim, which is probably 2.5 inch. So we have to calculate all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair. I think
it turns out there's a lot to this.
Okay. So then my question is, what is the difference between a hinge that you have suggested versus a Parliament hinge?
Would you please repeat the question?
So what is the difference between the hinge that we have on the coat,
yes,
and a Parliament hinge?
Well, a Parliament hinge is a hinge that is generally used. Well, first of all, it looks like the capital letter H. That's the telltale sign that you have a Parliament hinge. Parliament hinges are generally used on shutters. You'll see in colonial architecture in the United States, from the 18th century, you'll see Parliament hinges used as shutter hinges, because the window that the shutters are covering is always inset, not unlike your application, from the face of the masonry surface that, is the exterior wall. But when it comes to Parliament hinges, I'm not aware of any that are wide enough. I mean, I think you'll get an 8 inch wide Parliament hinge, but anything wider than that can be, is theoretically possible for me to make on my CNC machine, but I've not made one yet. And Parliament is also a hinge that would probably suit your application very well if you can get the width that you need.
I see.
The problem with the 5x10 hinge that you were quoted is you have to study the template of the hinge and make sure that you can get that large hinge leaf installed onto the edge of your 1 3/8 thick door. Now, what the proper thing to do is to run the formula for wide throw, determine the width of the hinge as prescribed, and then look at those hinges that are commercially available. And through AutoCAD, I can tell you what your degree of opening is when you use an 8 inch, a 7 inch, an 8 inch, if you were to have 9 inch or 10 inch or 12 inch. And I can tell you what those angles are. With an 8 inch hinge, you are not going to get that door to 180 degrees. There's no chance. Yeah.
Correct.
You're going to be 30 degree plus or minus. You want to get wider than that. The issue is there is no 9 inch. That's standard. So Cory quoting 10 inch, that's because it probably works in AutoCAD, and it's the next commercially available size. The problem is you've really, really got to want to get those doors open, because those hinges are costly and very, very large. They are going to, when I look at your door opening, you've got a 10 light door, very clean space, not overrun with additional elements. You slap those monster hinges on there, I don't know that it's gonna look really nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So a Parliament hinge would be really neat, because if you were to consider the idea of this is where cost is not being considered a important factor in the conversation. If you were to get someone to custom make you Parliament hinges, that may not be so bad because you could make them smaller in terms of the projecting amount of hinge. You're going to have a lot of hardware hanging off, and it's going to look odd. It's going to look odd. You could also, I think you could consider being open to other ideas. The problem is, there's not a lot of elegant ideas. I mean, if you were to remove those doors altogether and possibly do bifolding doors, or if you were to go to an extreme amount of work and turn those into biparting pocket doors, but the need to swing them to 180 has to be a great need, just for material cost alone. I'm not discouraging it, but you see the cost of those hinges. Custom-made Parliament hinges are going to be substantially more expensive than that. I have to run the tool path. You're paying for likely a score of machine time hours. And then they're just mill aluminum at that point. They're not even finished. So it's a neat project.
I completely get it. I do see, what you're saying. And we did consider the pocket doors, and of course, we didn't consider the bifolds. We never thought of that, but we did think of the pocket doors and the barn doors. But unfortunately, the pocket doors were not possible because of what is, there's not much of space given the whole structure around this area.
You can move the electric. It's not impossible.
Right. But that's a lot of work, to be honest, Richard. Thinking of the cost factor. But then I was like, let me see if this is a route we can consider.
Yeah, exactly.
But looks like even this is expensive too. But I was really curious to understand how. I never thought of the handle and the footboard. That's one thing that didn't occur to me. Yeah.
That's part of the formula. So, and don't write this down or feel like you need to write it down. But the formula is door thickness minus hinge backset times 2 plus inset plus clearance, and all of those elements, they're going to get you to a 10-inch hinge for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, I think this is helpful. Let me think about it. If you want to go that route, and if you do, I will reach out to you.
I think what you could do also, because to me the most important thing is whether or not buying the hardware will work, but buying the hardware, you might get it and say, oh, that's awful. So I would suggest that you take a piece of cardboard, cut it to 5x10, fold it in half on the x-axis, and then place that up on your door and see if 4 of those is going to be okay, because you got a lot of hardware hanging off there. A lot of hardware.
Yeah, that's true.
Just for the visual.
No, I completely agree. I think 5 inches sticking out of that door frame is kind of going to be an eyesore. But that's going to be a nice way to kind of to figure out if that's the route we want to take. Okay. I think that's what I wanted to know, Richard. Thank you so much for taking the time and explaining this to me.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. Please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.